We all come to pray, going back for warriors, keeping the whispers away. In suits and in skirts, we're the rebels you say, talking about life and dreaming of a different day. On the back row we stay, in the back we don't sway, just let the sermon flow. We're on the back row.
It is time for another episode of the Cultural Hall. It is an Articles of News episode. The co-host, what did I nicknamed you, didn't I? It's
Nope.
Taylor. I gave you no sort of nickname?
None whatsoever so far.
I don't know yet. I gotta, sometimes I just willy-nilly throw these out and then they're stuck and I'm committed to it. So Taylor Westbrook is his name. That's who's going to be co-hosting with me. We're talking all things Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. If you've never listened to the Cultural Hall before, we are a, I would dare say, the only humorous LDS podcast. There's lots of really great affirming, like these are great, and there's lots of come follow me's, and those folks are great, and we've had them on, but you might get a chuckle, and I don't know that I've ever listened. There are things that I've laughed at in other LDS shows and podcasts, but I don't think that those were intentionally funny. I did laugh. But yeah, we seek to be not only faith promoting, but also entertaining. So welcome, come in, drink the Kool-Aid, all the things, whatever someone said. You always have to be careful when you say drink the Kool-Aid around religious things. How are you, Taylor? What's new?
I'm pretty darn good. What's new?
Yes.
I got a new chain.
Okay. Now,
'Cause you loved the last one, so
oh my God. You know, it makes me want to have your nickname be like One Chain, or something like that, because Two Chains, that feels like I'm sort of like pop culturally aware, and I could just call you One Chain. It's maybe a little bit, it's a little too on the nose.
maybe.
Yeah,
But it can be chain related.
Yeah.
And this is definitely, by the way, this is pure gold. This is not part of my Halloween costume from last year.
Yeah, no, definitely not just gold-plated plastic. That's real gold dripping your neck. What do you like to call it? I know that there are several nicknames. Like for diamonds, it's ice. Do you have one for gold that you really like?
I wish I had a cool name for it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I heard the phrase "dripping ice" the other day, and I was like, that is a cool way to describe that. That if I tried to describe it that way, people would go, "Please don't ever try and describe."
I mean, you could call it drip is a little bit more broad, just
Okay.
kind of general swag.
Oh yeah,
Yep, but not necessarily. I don't know if there's a term just for gold. I should
for
know that.
gold.
Yeah.
All the
I'll look into it.
carrots.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, please. Would you stay away from Urban Dictionary? You'll burn your eye or your eye sockets. That's what I was gonna say. Your iris. You'll burn your iris. Taylor it joins me. For people who don't know, the way that we decide who is going to be a co-host on the Articles of News, some people are like, oh, is it alternating and there's a big calendar and everything's organized? Nope, that would be great. That is not how it is. I put it into a group of all the different panelists and say, hey, on a whim, I'm thinking about doing this at this time. And Taylor said, yeah, I'd love to. I suggested a time, a half an hour, nay, 45 minutes before what is right now. And Taylor said, hey, I need a little time. I got to put my chains on before we record. And that made me chuckle. It's a whole routine he's got. So if you've not yet gone to YouTube and check out the video, we would encourage you to do that. If you are a Patreon saint, you get to see the videos as well, largely before they actually publish to YouTube. Worth shouting out Grant Butler right now, who is in charge of our YouTube channel. And get us to 1,000. We got to make money. Hey-oh, get us to 1,000. The subs. Click the sub thing. I can't do it. I want to be that guy so bad. The guy that's like, click it on the subs and make it ring. It's not me.
Hit that bell notification.
Yeah. Yes.
How mad would you be if I told you I haven't subscribed to the YouTube?
On like 1 to 10?
Yeah.
No, you know what? Let's do it on this scale, like celestial to outer darkness.
Right.
Like I'm like telestial, mad at you.
Okay.
Right.
Room to
I could
grow.
be way more mad. I could be like, married, and you could be a god in heaven creating new planets mad at you. I'm not that mad at you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Other things that might be sort of new. Trying to think if there's anything You said nothing else. One of the news stories I imagine will be sort of appropriate for you and or new. I'm excited to talk about that. We got this email. You want to start here? Maybe we go this way.
Absolutely.
Thomas Bailey emailed in, contact@theculturalhall.com, and he says, "Hey Richie, hey, says I'm a happy listener of the show. I'm from Oshawa, Ontario, which, since you probably don't know, it's just east of Toronto. Says I've been listening for months, and I have told friends about your show. Want to take a quick pause real quick and say thank you. And if you're listening to this and you have someone that you know or some people that you know that, they like a good joke, they like some faith-affirming entertainment and maybe a spot of irreverence, tell them about the Cultural Hall. We would love for you to do that." Thomas goes on to say, "Could you or one of your friends dig into the following? Are there ward buildings anywhere in the world taking advantage of the robotic vacuum technology to clean the buildings? I know cleaning the church represents service, sacrifice, and I'm happy to do it, but I was cleaning our local church building last week, and the next day, I noticed a little dust bunny where I had cleaned the day before. The church building sits empty most of the time out here, and I see no reason why we couldn't have a robotic vacuum wandering the halls. Obviously, we would still need people to clean the rest of the building. Thanks for the great show, Thomas. So what say you? I don't know of a building that has a robotic vacuum cleaner.
I've never seen one. Not only that, I don't think I've seen one that has a vacuum cleaner that was purchased more recently than 1980. They are ancient and huge. Am I wrong?
No. Especially the big hall sweeper that we have here in the United States that looks like it looks like it's like one of those rented carpet cleaners that you would get
Yeah.
from the front of your grocery store, and you have to like pull back on it right at the perfect angle, otherwise the suction doesn't get to the floor and you have to go super. The thing for me about it, the vacuum cleaners specifically, is I feel like I am the only one who ever checks to see if the bag is full, and the bag is always full when I go to empty the vacuum cleaner. I'm like, this sucks. This isn't getting anything up. Let's check the bag. And like you pull back the white plastic because we have the blue and white one. Do you have the
There's a
blue and
whole
white ones
bunny
too?
of lint in there.
Yeah, just it's exploding. And it's like, interesting. I wonder why it wasn't. You replace it, you get the things. So do I think a robotic vacuum? What do you think?
I mean, I think that could work. I'm imagining like going into a church building on a random day during the week, which is already kind of creepy, and then a little robot sneaks around the corner. Might be a little bit of a jump scare, but I think it'd be worth doing. I feel like our church buildings don't get that dirty, so I think just having one of the what are those? I can't even think of the name. The little circle dudes.
Roombas. The Roombas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be worth investing in, but I definitely don't know of any church that's doing that.
It's interesting that we wouldn't do it. I mean, it seems like in some ways we really take advantage of like the robotics, like the future forward-looking things. I don't know of any church that does this as well. The couple things, because I got this email a couple hours ago, I have been ruminating on it. The couple things that I think about it. One is what's that?
Roombanating.
Boo! Why didn't I think of that? Good for you. Good for you. See?
Oh, sorry.
The power of the chain brings you. No, but what I've sort of thought is a couple of things. One, those vacuums are ripe for kids to play with. So we'd have to figure out a way to like have them not come out while kids could possibly be there at all, right? Like just like my sprinklers go off in the middle of the night, I think we could probably figure out how we do like 2 to 6 is when the Roomba comes out and vacuums the floors. So that would be one thing. Two, I wonder if we would have to have a couple of them because it's a large area. Those things are battery powered. They're charging. They go out. Maybe they have different routes. I'm not familiar enough with them, but maybe like they do a hallway one day, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing though, very thorough. And it would save us some time, some volunteer help. We could finally get that church bathroom smell out of the bathroom if we had one less person vacuuming and another person doing the bathrooms. That would be something to consider.
True. But think of all the blessings you'd miss out on if you weren't vacuuming changing the bag.
Sure,
I mean,
sure. Yeah, I think about that every time I see that the church has 100 billion people. I think, man, I'm glad I get these blessings of cleaning the chapel. Here's the deal. Here is how I personally feel about this. I think, not only because of family heritage, but I just think I just don't understand it. I suppose back in the day, before your sweet little millennialness was born, your Gen Z-ness, millennialness.
on the cusp.
Yeah. Before you were even a glimmer in your parents' eye, there would be someone in your ward who their full-time with benefits job was to take care of the church. Essentially a facilities manager for your particular building. They'd be in charge of the outside and they'd be in charge of the inside. When my grandpa got hit by a car, this is 70 years ago, he was able to get the job taking care of the church, the very church that until 2 months ago I used to attend. I still attend the Mormon church, just so everyone knows. It's just a different building because they changed it. Whatever, doesn't matter, right? So he was taking care of that, and I know that it's blessings, and I know that it's service opportunities, and all of those things. But in a day and in an age when we're trying to help, like lift people up, I think that those very simple, you're in charge of this church building and church grounds job. To me, I think. In a lot of ways, I think it would be a better use of some of that mass amount of money than come and volunteer and do it, because that's all inward facing, right? We're cleaning a building and I get to see you and that's great. And we fellowship, but we're not outward. We're not serving other people. We are doing the same thing that I did last week and the same thing that I'll do next week because we're assigned the month of June to clean the church.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see as well, for example, in parts of the world where having that opportunity of employment would be a huge blessing to
Yeah.
a family in the ward or something like that. I think back to one of my areas of my mission, I was serving in 2 branches that were like 2 hours apart. One had like 20 people attending every week, and the other had 15.
Where did you serve again?
In Cusco, Peru.
Okay.
The one that had 15 people, the building was the size of like your average Utah chapel. It was so I mean that would have been a pretty big burden for just those 15 people. But if there was somebody that, and we're talking, this is a village basically. It's a poor community. So yeah, I support that for 100%. And yeah, I don't know when or why that was done away with, or maybe that still is a thing in some places. I don't know.
Not here. And I get it. I mean, we save literal millions of dollars by having people volunteer to do it. I don't know that the trade-off is there, or that the exchange is what we think it would be. I think that there's a lot of people certainly around me that would benefit from members of the church serving them as opposed to cleaning up after ourselves. I don't know. Maybe
Fair
we
enough.
need to just be cleaner and not have to worry about it.
I also bet if it was somebody's job to take care of the building and everything with it, a lot of repairs could maybe be avoided if one person knew everything that's going on with the building and could avoid things like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some of that cost they're saving with volunteerism could be also saved in repairs and whatnot. So, I don't know.
Yeah. This came in. You can review the show if the platform which you listen to the Culture Hall allows you to review. And please do leave a review. We would love it. Currently on Apple, we're at 390. Would love it to get to 400. That'd be awesome. Take a second. You're listening. You're thinking, I'd like to be a part of a great cause and get them to 400. Love it. This came from Emily Rose Hecker. I'm 99% sure her real last name is Heller, but because she's a member of the church, she goes by Hecker. Not positive. Haven't confirmed that. Emily Rose Hecker, thank you for chuckling. Says, I genuinely love this show. Richie's a great interview. He asks good questions. He doesn't make any biased comments. It's obvious why such a diverse group of guests have been on the show. I've been introduced to some great ideas and books that I would have never known otherwise. The articles of news are fun and interesting. The co-hosts, including Taylor, no nickname Westbrook, are great. She didn't add that. I did that. I like that there are so many different people with different stories. I love the temple ticker as well. I've spouted off plenty of things that I learned from the Pharaoh, who does our temple-specific news episodes, and they were impressed. Don't worry, I gave him credit. Keep it up, and I'll keep listening. Emily Rose Hecker. So thank you to you, Taylor, and to all the different co-hosts who join me and chat news of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I want to ask you one other thing. You recently went to the Genesis barbecue. Tell me about that. Tell people
would
what
say-
Genesis is, and then tell everybody about the barbecue.
Yeah, so if people don't know what Genesis is a group, it's an official group within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that is essentially structured to uplift, support Black Latter-day Saints and their friends and family. So if you're not Black, you're more than welcome to join. And when I say join, you don't like. Sorry,
But the
go ahead.
understanding is the majority of the people are Black that attend the Genesis project, yeah, or Genesis organization functions.
Genesis group, yeah. It's like 50-50. And a lot of it are like interracial couples. I've known a lot of people who just are not Black and just love going to Genesis. There's people who are not members of the church but go to Genesis because it's maybe a little bit more familiar to them and all
Really?
that stuff. So in Genesis, we have a monthly devotional. It's the first Sunday of every month in the evening in Draper, Utah. So if you're not in Utah, you won't be able to attend, but there's a live stream of every single devotional with a gospel choir that performs in the beginning. There's a Black History spotlight, and then there's a speaker and testimonies. But every June there's a Genesis barbecue. So they do it in June because I believe the revelation of the lifting of the priesthood ban was received in June, I want to say.
June the 8th, we just celebrated the anniversary of it just a couple of days ago.
June 8th. And then what was the other? Genesis was founded in June of 1972, something like that.
Okay.
And then Juneteenth as well. So lots to celebrate in the month of June for the Black community. So, but Genesis was, so basically it was just a lot of good food, good hanging, great music. It was, awesome. It's not for another year, so you can't go anytime soon, Richie.
Well, you put it on your calendar now and say, "Oh, I got to make sure if you're out of the state of Utah, hey, I got to make sure that I'm in Utah for the Genesis barbecue next June."
Absolutely. I mean, there was probably close to 300 people there. It was awesome.
Favorite thing you ate?
Oof. There was a macaroni with something in it that was spectacular.
We don't even do linger longers in my ward. That's it.
See, I'm still in YSA, so I mean, we're lingering all the longer, and it's
not helping. You aren't getting married. None time too soon.
Sir, it has been less than a year. Can I just breathe?
Nope.
Okay,
when are you going to have kids? It's multiply and replenish, Taylor.
All right, I will replenish.
I'm going to very passive aggressively email you a talk or two from a couple general conferences ago and just tell you that basically it's your fault. So if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Just
I'll keep an eye on my inbox.
Yeah. I'll look for that. I'll look for that. Oh, delete. Oh, shoot. Oh, crap.
Darn
My
it.
finger slipped. That. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take a break. You want to come back and we'll do actual articles of news? How's that sound for you?
Sounds pretty dang good.
I like every bit of that. We'll come back and do actual articles of news. BestDJinUtah.com is the website. That is where you go if you would like me to come and DJ your event. Now, will I do a family reunion where you all wear the same t-shirts? You bet I will. Will I travel to wherever you're at? Am I reasonable as far as what I cost? Yes. Do I bring a good time? Yeah, all the things. Listen, Best DJ in Utah, it's my company. It's a thing I do that allows me to be able to have the time to do the cultural hall. So if someone's getting married, you think, man, they need a great DJ. You're throwing a party, whether it's a 50th or 60th or 40th or 20th or whatever the party is. I've done them all and would love to be able to do that. An anniversary party, certainly done those. I did a baptism in 2023. Yeah, we did a big dance party at a baptism. Spoiler, not a Mormon baptism, but it was fun nonetheless. BestDJinUtah.com is a website. I will get back to you within 24 hours with a quote. Come on now. BestDJinUtah.com.
Imagine running a small business today. It's challenging. Imaging and internet presence is an absolute must. Even with that, you're still a small star in a bright cyber universe. Now, imagine you have someone who understands how to get your site designed for your talents and then easily searched by potential clients. Imagine Lennon Design. Whether it's strictly a website or a whole package of logo creation, advertising media, and promotional materials, Lennon Design is your partner in business. They'll test the boundaries of their imagination to create something unique for you. When you need creative, affordable design, let it be Lennon Design. Call 801-699-3022 or visit LennonDesign.com.
Here in the second half of Articles of News, in a moment, we will do actual articles of news, but you probably noticed, if you are a longtime listener, that one of the ads that we had in our ad placement no longer is running ads with us. So if you are a business or individual, you just want to show some financial support to the Cultural Hall, please reach out, contact at theculturalhall.com and say, you know what, I would love to do an ad in the Cultural Hall. We keep those in the episode that they are recorded. They're not dropped in and then taken out. So it is in perpetuity forever if you become an advertiser with the Cultural Hall. Reasonable rates, contact at theculturalhall.com. Please reach out. And also, hit it, Peter.
You can't lose articles of news.
And away we go. It is the articles of news, and the order of which has been chosen by Taylor, no nickname Westbrook. Do you want to take the first one? Do you want odds or evens?
I'll do odds.
Take it.
How about that? Okay. So starting off something lighthearted, something awesome. Back in April, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints renovates a Catholic school in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of the Congo. So this renovation of this school included renovation of the podium, 17 classrooms, administrative offices, the sanitary facilities, benches, all that stuff, which is benefiting over 4,000. I think it's 4,300 students.
Jeez.
That will have improved environment for study and learning and health conditions. And this was kind of like a joint operation with that church. Head Brother Edouard Yatha, head of the Bobokoli Institute. I love that name, Bobokoli. There's a lot of cool names in this article. Expresses gratitude, saying that it was a miracle that the church was able to step in and help with this. Her Excellency, Madame Antoinette Insamba Kalambayi, the Minister of Mines in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I want that to be my title.
Jeez, I just want a title, but if I was going to get a title, that's the one I want.
Minister of Mines. I don't know what that means, but that's awesome. She was there to kind of receive this gift from the church and praised the project as an exemplary act of solidarity and brotherhood between the two organizations. So super awesome. Always cool when projects like this are happening in Africa to help people have healthier environments.
And it's so huge. We, a few episodes ago, talked with the guy that's in charge of getting the message out about what the church is doing on the continent of Africa. Great episode. We'll leave that in a link in the show notes if you haven't listened to that. But I just think it's fascinating to see how many just humanitarian projects that we're partnering on and literally saving and or changing the lives of thousands of people in a way that, like, when we help out with things in the state of Utah or here in the United States, it certainly impacts people. It makes a big difference. I'm glad we do it, but it's not nearly the like breadth of it because of the poverty and the things that folks in Africa are experiencing. So just being able to offer a little bit of education, a little bit of nourishment. I'm sure we'll talk about some of that coming up as well. Like, those things are so awesome that we do. To me, it is, I am glad to see that we are sharing the message that we do that more than we used to. I think that we've always done some amount of it, but for a long time, I think that the church's attitude was, well, we don't want, we're not doing it for the praise of other people. And I don't think that they're doing it for the praise of other people now. But I think that we have leaned into, we are doing this and we need to tell people about this so that it's, there's no sort of question about it.
Absolutely. I feel like with so much negativity that's like so readily available, like on social media and everything, that the publicity of positive things is really, really uplifting and helpful. So I'm glad that they're doing that as well.
I'll take a good positive story, and I'm glad you let out with it. I just did a quick double check, and this second story is from 7 years ago, so we're going to skip it.
Okay.
Here's the problem. So the way that we gather our news is certainly the church newsroom, but we also have, I like to call them news fetchers because it sounds like it's an expletive. I'm going to get news fetcher. That scours the internet and then sends me an email and says, here are all the things that you could talk about. Super cool, great, free service. And occasionally, like one that it suggested me today, it's like, here's a news story. And it's like, Republican president candidate Mitt Romney is speaking about his Mormon faith. And I was like, this is, a dozen years old. Anyway, so that second story is 7 years old. So I'm going to let you take the third story. Because it has to do with Peru.
Absolutely. So similar type of story here with the church with its humanitarian arm. The Church of Jesus Christ is partnering with the World Food Program to reduce childhood anemia by 5% in the Ventanilla district of Callao.
Now, do you know
Uh,
those places? Have you been there?
Not Ventanilla. Callao, technically, I've been there because that's where the international airport is. It's known as like one of the most dangerous parts of Peru.
Ooh,
Had a couple of missionaries from my mission that were from there. So
okay.
you drive through it when you, because I went to the MTC in Peru. So that was like our first, impression of Peru was driving through Callao. And I was like, take me home, please.
Is the MTC still in Peru, or is that one of the ones that was shuttered a few years ago?
No, it's still open.
Okay. Okay.
Open, yeah. So Elder Jorge T. Becerra from the church's South American Northwest Area Presidency presented the donation to Sarah Lawton, who's the World Food Program representative in Peru. So basically, they're aiming to improve the nutrition in children. The World Food Program has already had some positive results there. So in children under 5 in Peru, it reached 11.5%.
Jeez.
Chronic malnutrition and anemia affects 43.1% of children under 3 nationwide, which is crazy. I don't know how I don't have kids. I don't know how common that is in like the United States or other countries.
Sure.
I can't imagine it's over 40% of children under 3. So that's very concerning. But from 2011 to 2015, the World Food Program was able to reduce it by 23% in 7 of the settlements in Ventanilla. So definitely some good work to be done. So that's awesome that that's happening. And in Peru, love it.
This is interesting, and this is not the exact same thing as what we were just talking about, but I looked to see what it says about the United States. In the United States, 17% of children live in food insecure households, which means they may not have enough access to nutritious foods at some point during the year, or essentially that they don't necessarily know where their next meal is going to come from. So that's
Right.
not the same as malnourishment. I don't have a statistics. Low-income families are especially vulnerable to poor nutrition and obesity, which can lead to health disparities. More than half of malnourished households in the U.S. have both malnutrition and obesity or a non-communicable disease, but that doesn't give me any sort of rates for it. But yeah, terrible wherever it is, and the fact that we can be making a difference down there in Peru is pretty great. So
Absolutely.
awesome. This is interesting. This out of Salt Lake, a police force in central Utah has agreed to pay $80,000 to a former state representative. If people are from the state of Utah, they know about a gentleman by the name of Carl Wimmer. He feels like discriminated against because of his religious beliefs. He lives down in Gunnison Valley, which, well, how would I describe that to it's that's sort of around where Manti is, Manti Gunnison, so center of the state of Utah. Um, with this agreement, both parties agreed to a finding of no fault for either party. But what happened is as I understand it, Carl Wimmer was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He served in the Republican Utah House. That's probably a mistake in saying it that way. He was a Republican in the Utah House, although both are true the way that I said it. And then after leaving office, he became an evangelical. He was working as a detective in the Gunnison Valley Police Department, and the chief of police job became available. And he suspects, yea, asserts that the reason why he did not get the job was because he was not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Gunnison Valley denied 2 public records requests and did not respond to appeals. The Utah State Records Committee was scheduled to hear the case, but they were able to settle outside of it. So the point, yes, religious discrimination happens here in the state of Utah, which is unfortunate. And a lot of times, whether it is on the nose, something like this with a chief of police job, or if it's just, you want to engage in business with people that are also members of the church. I know salespeople, when I used to work in the radio industry, who not members of the church, but would wear a very like distinct necked undershirt under their dress shirts so that people would think that they were Mormon, and they swear, and I believe them, have no reason not to believe them, that people would engage with them far more than when they didn't have said undershirt on.
I believe it 100%. I
Yep.
mean, and this isn't like an attack on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or its members in particular. It's just we like people that are like us.
Yeah.
We're more comfortable if we find, our brains are trying to find these common ground ways to connect with people that are easy. So it makes sense. We just have to be vigilant about it. It's said that there was like an investigation into it that found in a recording of I believe his interviews where they did discuss like his preaching, quote unquote, because he's now I think an evangelical preacher, I want to say, in Duchesne. And so that was brought up in his interview. So it's something we definitely don't think about here. And I'm sure there have been members of our church who even in Utah have been discriminated against for their religion as well. So
Sure. If you listen to the recording, what you hear is, I don't know, he's different. He's different than the rest of us. I don't know. We don't like different in Gunnison Valley. All right.
that how they
Get
talk in the
somebody
middle
else.
of Utah?
Yeah. It's a lot of grunting. Different.
Irking.
I've never been to Gunnison Valley, truthfully. No, not true. Actually, one time I went. I think we had a like what do you when you're 16 to 18 and in the church and you have the big summer super activity? Is that what they're called?
Super activity.
Yeah, super activity.
EFY? FSY?
Nah, it was like EFY, but it was just like our stake or just our ward or whatever. I think we went to Gunnison Reservoir. That's about as close as I've got. You get the next story. Tell me about this.
All right. I really liked this one. So there is a YouTuber, and the headline says, "Why a popular Protestant YouTuber just joined the church." So David Boyce, he's a YouTuber, and he's known for a series he did quite a while ago, 9 years ago now, where he did a series called 52 Churches in 52 Weeks. So across that year, experiencing new churches, new religions, kind of comparing the differences and his impressions of them. But in those 52 weeks, somehow neglected to attend a service or really investigate into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints until a friend of his, after he did the series, recommended that he should still check one out.
I watched the 52 and I happened to notice he didn't come to a Mormon church. We could say Mormon back then because it was 2015.
Yep.
Now we have to say Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But so I happened to notice you didn't, Brother Boyce. Brother Boyce?
Brother
light
Boyce.
Came from heaven.
What'd you say?
And the light came from heaven.
Brother Boyce.
Brother Boyce.
So he eventually did investigate, went to a church service, and said that he was immediately struck by how warm and inviting the members were, and that he was invited to sit with a family. And then another brother came and the ward missionaries were answering his questions for over an hour. And then some time went by, and he was, a lot of YouTube comments were telling him, you should go check out an temple open house. So that was kind of like the next stage of his exposure to the church, was going to several church or temple open houses and the feelings he had there. What was really cool about his story was that at a time in his life, he was praying for guidance from God, and then he started to see red cardinals, the bird, in different places in life in what he felt like were significant times, significant events, essentially. When he felt like God was talking to him. So when he went to one of the open houses, he saw what's her name? Tykert.
Yeah, Minerva Tykert in the Manti Temple mural.
Yeah.
Yep.
Saw in one of her paintings a red cardinal, and then just at different moments. And then what was really cool is I think the day of his baptism, he went for a walk to kind of get the jitters out because he had just decided to get baptized, and he saw 5 cardinals all grouped together, which was kind of like a final sign, like, yes, this is like the culmination of this guidance that he's been receiving from God, and has still been sharing his conversion story and other videos on YouTube. Has gotten a lot of positive feedback. So
hopefully a future guest of the Cultural Hall. I'd love to.
That would be really cool. Have you seen any of his videos or anything like that?
I have watched the most recent one that he did when I first put that link in. But yeah, I mean, to hear someone tell their own story, and certainly their own, I don't want to join a different church kind of story, and then to how God's like, yeah, but maybe think about it. No, I don't really want to. Yeah, but consider it. I always like to hear how people get sort of softened, or humbled in some cases, towards turning towards the church. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Brother Boyce, if you're listening, Brother Boyce, Come to the Cultural
know
Hall.
these
Come.
are.
We saved a seat for you on the back row. This is sort of cool. We have talked about this before, but the My Baby for Me initiative, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints partners with the NAACP on this My Baby for Me initiative. It's demonstrably improved maternal and infant health outcomes. So it was first launched in Memphis, providing at-risk mothers with support, including education, resource linkage, which just means basically like, hey, let's help you connect you to some places that you can find some resources. That's what resource linkage is. I guess it's self-explanatory, but for some reason that term sounded odd. Food, transportation, and other essentials. In a year of operation, My Baby for Me in Memphis significantly improved outcomes with no infant deaths among program participants. Due to its success, the initiative received a $790,000 grant and expanded into Nashville. Dr. Q or Dr. K English, I'm not sure, QUE, probably K. Dr. K English, director of the HHS Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, there's a title for you, highlighted that the My Baby for Me model as a template for successful data-driven programs across the country is the way to go. And when we do that, I love it. I love that we can partner. We find and seek out great groups that are doing amazing things and say, we will, and sometimes it's money, and other times it's we will, and give them, the people backing up and being able to do these initiatives and seeing real difference. I love every bit of that.
Absolutely, me too. And the church, the NAACP has not always been super, I don't know, didn't really jive with the church that much due to the church's history with the Black community and everything.
Yeah, that was the quote, actually. We don't jive very much with the Church of Jesus Christ
They're
of
a bunch of
Latter-day Saints.
They're not jive turkeys. I can't remember, is jive turkey good or bad? I don't remember.
I don't know.
But the church has been doing a lot with the NAACP in recent years, and this is just another testament to the strength of that partnership. And kind of to your point of, sometimes the church just kind of comes in and like, here's this money so that you can just kind of grow it on your own. Similar to other projects that we do through like the giving machines and things like that, that's kind of like fostering growth in these communities rather than just like shoving resources at them. So with that kind of boost or with that partnership, they were then able to, earn a grant on their own. So now that grant is, not necessarily, it's not from the church or anything like that, but it's kind of a testament to how successful it's been. So loved reading that story.
Well, I think for a long time, I feel like the church felt like they had to start the program, run the program, and be the program. And I think in the last 20 years, the huge difference that I've seen is they go, oh, Taylor's got a great organization that does A. They don't need a partner organization that also does A. They need a B and a C, and we have a B, and we know people that are a C. Let's partner the things together and be able to do that. I've seen that with the homeless issue in the state of Utah for a long time. The church, felt like they couldn't do anything because they felt like they had to do too much of it. And then they just partnered with some of these other organizations and then have been able to help with the homeless problem. Certainly there still is one, but when we partner with other groups, we don't have to invent the wheel every time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. The next one is you then, sir.
That is me. This one.
Well, you know what? Let me take this one and you take the next one because the next one's far more appropriate for you than for me. So for the last 4 years, 4 to 5 years technically, volunteers from local churches have been meeting every Friday to feed homeless residents in Shasta County, California. This is near Redding. On May 24th, volunteers with the All Saints Episcopal Church, the First Christian Church, the Center of Spiritual Living, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints were providing their usual services by feeding local homeless residents in the parking lot. They say for the last 13 years, their churches have been rotating each Friday of the month, and then they provide food for the local homeless residents. And for the last 4 to 5 years, they've been operating outside of the Shasta Community Health Center. They said that they had received permission to do so, but in their most recent time, they were told, hey, we're not doing this anymore. And the reason why? Well, about 6 months ago, their organization began to notice that there was more food waste, more litter, more drug paraphernalia, more smoking, and cars parked in the middle of the parking lot and street causing general hazards to employees. So in response, the church volunteers told KRCR, which is the news outlet that put this together, that they always clean up out there themselves and always serve hot food, saying that that wasn't necessarily the church groups themselves, but the people they serve who they are not responsible for. So at at least the reading of this news story, there has not been another means made to be able to feed those people, and it's unfortunate. And I hope that those people don't just kind of throw hands up and be like, "Oh well, we tried," and then we'll figure out another time. Hopefully, they have continued to pursue and find a place that they can do it, and that's hard. That's one of the hardest things I think about it. Wherever you live, where you have the homeless population, you probably have some level of empathy for these people. At least I hope so. But it's people living not in a home and living out for all to see. And there is a certain amount of mess that comes with that, whether it's like mess, as you may think I'm trying to, be cute about, or like mess, like wrappers and garbage and, trash and all the things. And there's not an easy solution for it, but that doesn't mean that we can't care for people. So I don't know. It's difficult.
It is difficult. My dad right now, he's retired, but he works with the road home through AmeriCorps. So he's on like a year volunteer stint contract with them to help people find housing. And he's been like dedicated to helping with that issue for years now. And just yesterday, actually, I saw him and we were talking about all the problems. And it's just like, what do you do? Because it seems like, unfortunately, like anytime there's like a designated spot that isn't like, a shelter or like what do you, like soup kitchen,
Yeah. No.
that it eventually it's gonna just get like the buck's gonna be passed because it's like we're sick of this mess and dealing with this. But I think there needs to be more empathy a lot of the time, especially it always makes me sad when I hear, members of the church complaining about like my ward, we moved buildings to the Granite Tabernacle in Sugar House, Utah. If you haven't seen it, it's one of the most beautiful buildings in the church. It's also closer to the more, I guess, metropolitan part of Salt Lake City. So there's more homeless people around. And I heard somebody from my ward complaining, like, we never saw any homeless people wandering in when we were at our old building. And now we've had like 3 in the last couple months. And I was just like, shouldn't this, be a place for them too? They don't, there's not like a cleanliness meter that you have to meet. So it is difficult. But hopefully, with all those different church groups that are helping with that service that's been going on for years over there in Reading, I'm sure they'll find a solution. Maybe it's just, hey, go to the stake center.
Yeah. Well, and a cool interfaith thing for the church, when I read that not only the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but like these 4 or 5 different church organizations each took a Friday. How cool is that? Because it's not just like it's Mormon Friday. That there's people that are like, listen, I can't come on my particular one. I'll go the next time. And they're able to meet other members of their community and other people of other faiths. I think that is a huge, just awesome thing. All right. Tell me about where you're going to meet your wife.
All right. So coming up this summer, coming to a Utah near you.
Making an eternal commitment starting this fall.
The 2024 Utah Area Young Single Adult Conference has been announced. They've been posting a lot about it. I like some of the changes they're making for this year. But so this year, the concerts have been set as far as the artists. Ben Rector, Rachel Platten, and is it Emma Nissen?
I think it's Neeson.
Yep. Now, sidebar, you mentioned months ago on the Cultural Hall that you were hoping to have her as a guest. Any movement there?
No movement on it yet. Because Emma is a member of the church and she sings jazz music?
It's like jazz infused gospel music. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And I would love to be able to visit with her about that. I can't remember. I tried to coin a phrase about the kind of music that it was, and I can't remember what it was. It was like
Me neither.
Mormon jazz, but that's not nearly as clever as what I said 6 months ago. So Emma, if this gets back to you, contact at theculturalhall.com. Any of the folks that over at Deseret Book, because that's how we were originally going to be able to contact them. We'd love to do that. But Ben Rector and Rachel Platten, not members of the church, and that seems like an awesome concert to be a part of.
Yeah, 100%. I'll hold up a sign at the concert for Emma. This is just gonna say, "Hello, Emma. Please come on the Cultural Hall. It's a show, not a podcast." It'll be a pretty small print, but I think she'll be able to read it. And I think
and then you're like, "Listen, we say that because Richie thinks it's a funny joke, but most people don't get it." And then the print continues to get smaller and smaller as the expert.
And then I'm just like prompting her with a script, card after card, and
Yep.
Gonna be great. What I like what they're doing this year is they've kind of condensed all the activities. So last year it was kind of like spread out over like 3 weekends. So I think some people kind of like interest dipped by the third weekend of the
Mhm.
activities. So everything's going to be between the second and the fourth, except maybe the 5K. That might be on the weekend before. But
Okay.
tickets are on sale now. The prices have already risen a little bit, so people should get on that, get their tickets. I already got mine. I will
Did
be
you?
there reporting live.
You're doing all the things?
I think I'm not running.
You're not.
I am not. You don't want to see me run.
Let us be clear. I'm not running.
No.
I'm.
But yeah,
I will do the
last
other
year
thing.
I missed the concert last year, but I'll be going to the concert, going to the conference, going to the devotional, which will be in Salt Lake this year instead of Provo, which is awesome.
Do they have like speed dating and stuff like that, or what?
They do.
Okay.
So the conference last year, it was at the Salt Palace, and it was basically just a huge amount of different things. They were filming podcasts.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, there were speakers, and there was speed dating. I did not partake in the speed dating.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, lots and lots of stuff. Games, food, all that jazz.
And you got the devotional with Elder Uchtdorf, which I think is a great way to cap
Oh
it
yeah.
off. And you're right. The 5K is the 27th, which is the weekend before. So you don't have to worry. You won't even feel the pressure of needing to run. You'll be like, was I there? You just answer it with a question. Hey, did you run last week? Was I there?
Was I there?
Was I there?
Did I finish first?
Did I? Did I run that? And then just never answer the question. Cool. And
Yeah.
it's like 40, $50. Is that what it is?
Right now, yeah. It
Okay.
was 25 when I got it, so people
Okay.
better get on it. It's climbing. It's climbing.
Yeah. Listen, then it's 100. It's like buying a Big Mac at the McDonald's. You get it in peak time. It's the most expensive. You wait and you get Dave's double burger at 9 o'clock at night. You save yourself $3.
That's Wendy's, but I'll accept it.
Well, I know.
I shouldn't know that.
I was
That's
trying to
bad.
bring in everybody. I was trying to bring in all parties, all people of various burger faiths. That's what I was trying to do.
That was good.
A couple missionary deaths. This is terrible. My heart just goes out when I see this. It's something that it occurs. We know it. A couple years ago, it seemed like it was occurring all the time. I think that I don't think the rate at which missionaries pass on their mission, die on their mission, whether in an accident or by life circumstances, I don't think that it is above or below average. But there were 2 missionaries that were in an accident in North Dakota just this last week. There was a collision in the North Dakota Bismarck mission, and one of the elders, Elder Kessler from Ely, Nevada, and Elder Gardner from Riverton, Utah, both passed away at the scene. They were traveling on a highway outside of Beulah, North Dakota, when their vehicle struck a semi truck that had stopped in the road due to an accident. So the church, within their message, said, we pray they will be comforted and feel peace during this tragic time as they reflect on the faithful service that these young men have given to the Savior by sharing his gospel. There was another story, and I put this in the news show notes, and as an aside, it's a missionary couple that was killed by a gang in Haiti. They were a young couple out of Utah. Speculation that they may not have, in fact, been members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But want to take the quick sidebar. Did you know, Taylor, that if I wanted, with my wife, were she a member of the church and felt compelled to do so alongside with me, could serve a senior mission now?
I don't think I knew how old or young you could be.
I am old enough. I am old enough. I am not an old person. My birthday. Okay. You know what? That is unappreciated. Have some respect for your elders, Taylor.
You're amazing.
It's my birthday this week, for crying out loud. So
HBD.
have a little respect. I'll be 44. I don't often mention my age because it doesn't matter. But I think you only have to be like 41 to serve as a senior mission couple if you don't have kids, dependents at home. And if we were financially, this is where we're not able to do it. If we were financially able to do so, we could go serve a mission.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. My second mission president was he was under 50. I'm pretty sure he was 45 to 50 years old.
Interesting.
Yeah. And had 2 young kids.
Yeah, mission president's
Yeah.
certainly different because you get called
Right.
and you sort of do it. But like I could go and say, "Hey, my wife and I, we want to do this, and we'd like to go to Hawaii for 18 months, and we'll go ahead and pay the church reduced rate for our housing and try and help bring people to the church." We talked about it, and my wife has said, "I'm probably not going to go out of the country with you." But I know that she could, and we could technically go and serve a service mission together with her not being a member of the church.
That's awesome. That part I definitely didn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really
It's
cool.
it's tricky.
Yeah, I'm sure like what assignments you could take would be somewhat limited,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still
But you know what?
necessary.
Service is service.
Hmm.
And until I get replaced by a Roomba vacuum, it's service all the same. Uh,
Yes.
so a quick aside to another. Now we go to the other couple. This was now a couple of weeks ago. We've been not great about sharing news, just news in general, certainly with the timeliness. But Elder Paul and Sister Mary Harden, serving as senior missionary couple in the Fresno, California mission, they have both passed. Now, originally, Sister Harden, she passed, and Paul, Elder Harden, uh, lived for a couple more days, and then he also passed. They were stopped at a red light. A pickup truck struck their vehicle at a high rate of speed. Sister Harden passed at the scene of the accident, and then Elder Hardin passed away just a few days later. The thing that is really hard, and what I want people to remember, and why it's worth bringing up in this particular scenario, when you say things like, "Well, I bet they just had work to do on the other side," I don't know that like I like the idea of that, but I don't think that that brings comfort. Or like, "What a sweet romantic story that she passed and then he passed." I think that we have this need to take our uncomfortable and try and make a way for it to be comfortable. And I think, like, the older that I get now that I can serve a senior mission, the older that I get, I think I want to just maybe sit or be all right, or, recognize that something is uncomfortable and have it be uncomfortable. And I don't have to kind of, well, look on the bright side of it. Just be able to be like, yeah, no, that's really terrible. And maybe, they're able to be together and the other side and be able to do great work. That's just an aside. That's an additional thing. It's not cheer up, don't be sad. They've got this other thing. I think it
Yeah,
invalidates people's hurt.
100%. It can just suck. It can just be terrible, terrible news, and it can just be that.
Yeah. And it
Um,
is
yeah,
all
and
those
not the
things.
only. So there was those stories, and then there was another 20-year-old missionary named Court Ryan Newlin, who was in a car in, is it Eremo or
That sounds
Remo,
right.
something
Mhm.
like that,
Yeah.
in Idaho. Um, so I'm not 100% sure on all the details, but sounds like he was a service missionary. He was about to embark on his second mission with the church to Austin, Texas, but I believe was already set apart as a missionary. And was in a car with another 20-year-old man, 21-year-old man who I don't believe was a missionary, who did not pass away in the accident, but was taken to the hospital with injuries. There's no update on his condition yet. But Court Ryan Newland did unfortunately pass in that accident.
And this is another one where it's like a mission in heaven. And I'm probably old enough to remember this where you're not, where like when I was about to serve, everyone was like, he died before he got his mission call. And on the line where it said where he would be serving, it was left blank, or it said the celestial kingdom. And it's just like, guys, it doesn't. No, it didn't. It didn't. We don't
That
make up
one, that
these
one
things.
has persisted, I think, because I
Has it?
remember that. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Were they worthy? Then yes, they're living in the celestial kingdom and there's work to do. Sure. Okay. They did not get an empty envelope that said called to serve and it's left blank, or called to serve and it's the celestial kingdom. That's not a thing. We want it to be a thing because it makes us feel better. It's not. As you mentioned, sometimes it's just death and sometimes it just sucks really bad. So
Yeah.
there. Take us home, Taylor. You got to do the last story. I'll let you take this one
All right. Let me get there real quick.
because I'm going to ask you what you're going to do.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Don't ask me that.
No, I am. I'm gonna make you commit because I want to do this too, but I haven't given it much thought as to what I'm gonna do.
Well, basically, the last thing we wanted to touch on was President Nelson's request for his present from all of us for his 100th birthday. little clickbaity. Like,
Sure.
what does he want? He wants more than 10%.
Yeah. Give an extra 1% and market President Nelson on the other tab. Can you imagine?
There you go.
Jeez.
That would be awesome. But no. So President Nelson said, "I have no need of physical gifts. The gift that the global religious leader wants for his 100th birthday will not come in wrapping paper. It is something that would benefit others."
I hate the way that stuff like that is written.
I know,
It
right?
doesn't come in a box, but it's a gift that he
That keeps on giving.
Yeah.
So, but it was announced 100 days before his 100th birthday, and essentially, President Nelson referenced the parable of the shepherd's 100 sheep's gone astray, and he leaves the 99 to go into the mountains to find it. And when he does, he carries it home on his shoulders, rejoicing. And President Nelson continued saying, "What a beautiful example the Savior has shown us, that through each of us ministering to just one within our reach, we can spread the love of Jesus Christ throughout the world." Hashtag 99+1. So essentially, what the prophet has invited us all to do is to think about that one person, or if there's somebody a name that's been on your mind recently, or you've been thinking about them, or maybe seeing them come up on your social media, and you pause for a second to reach out to them somehow, or to reconcile with somebody that you need to ask for forgiveness, or to uplift somebody who maybe feeling hopeless. And I actually really, really enjoyed this message. I think it's a really cool way to commemorate a long life and to inspire members to do these things. And I feel like President Nelson has done a really good job in his years as president of the church of like these things that like make us think about what we're doing. Like thinking celestially, like that is one that I feel like I've heard people say that a lot more than some messages that are shared in general conference. They might persist for the 6 months and then they kind of die out, but
Yeah.
that one has really stuck with people, and this one I think will do the same. As far as your question of what I'm going to do, no comment, because
You don't know yet?
undecided. I'm
Yeah,
still
I don't know
praying.
yet either.
Still praying.
But the idea is to find the one that you can either serve or minister to, or fix a relationship. It's super cool. Obviously 99 and 1 because he turns 100 years old.
Yeah.
This year in September. 100 years old, a centenarian prophet of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's pretty fascinating. If you do something, the hashtag 99+1, and share it, I think we should do it. To anyone who's listening, if you have an amazing experience, email us, contact@theculturehall.com. Maybe we'll put together an episode of just people telling the stories about going after the one and being able to whatever that thing may be. What I love about it is that it's not write your testimony in the Book of Mormon and share it with the one, although that very well could be the thing. I like that it is general enough so that it can be, I'm repairing a relationship with one of my brothers. Well, you're, reaching out to someone who you taught on your mission who's moved stateside, right? Like there can be so many different things that we can do. It's also the thing, though, that because there's so many things that we can do, there's not an excuse not to do it. So, yep, better do it.
I actually had a plasma donor. One of our plasma donors today gave me a little Book of Mormon card, the one that says like free to download. And he wanted to share his testimony with me. Didn't know I was a member of the church, and then we kind of talked about it after, and he was crying. So maybe I was the one. Maybe I was his one.
Oh, that's an interesting idea too.
I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, just sharing your testimony or whatever it is.
Maybe you take a gold chain that you're not using anymore and share it with someone.
Yep.
I mean, you don't have any gold chains that you're not using anymore. I'm just using it as a for instance if someone happened to have a gold chain.
You should see the dozens of chains in my closet. No, I'd have two. One's real, one's not.
Do we still say bling? Is bling a thing?
There you go, bling.
Is it?
I don't think it's a thing.
Bling?
I don't think it's a thing. Bling is not a thing, but bling should be a thing.
Yeah. Ice.
Ice.
I'll come up with the term and then you'll be like, there it is. There it is. I'm just super.
Just ask ChatGPT for a good nickname.
Okay, hang on. Let's do this at the end of this. Let's see, because I pay for the ChatGPT. So let me see. Here we go.
For that free ChatGPT, huh?
Give me nicknames for someone named Taylor Westbrook. I'm betting Brookie's going to be one of these. Are you ready for this? Here we go. Processing, thinking. Here we go. Oh, come on. I do not have enough information about this. Person is human.
Wow, I've never received that,
Okay.
that result.
Nicknames for someone named Taylor. Let's see if I can be more broad.
Tay-tay.
Oh, here you go. Tay, T, Tails, Tater Tot, T-Bird, T-Swizzle.
Heard them all.
Okay, hang on. Nicknames for someone named Westbrook. Here we go. Here we go. Based on the name, West. That's great. Westbrook, Brook, WB. I like WB.
Okay.
Wild West, if you're energetic or adventurous. Speedy, if you're fast. The General, if you're a leader. Brody, Beastbrook, Triple Double, like the basketball player Russell Westbrook. Please note that it's important to choose a nickname that the person likes and feels comfortable with. None of those. I hope that this episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
If you're not healthy enough to listen this week, you'll be healthy enough to listen next week.
And that when the time comes, you will be able to travel home in safety. In the meantime, Chris at Alpine Lakes Travel, Rick McGee, Debbie Wanless, Chocolate Cake Bites Podcast, and the Tiger with a U will be saving a seat for you
On the back row
of the
Cultural Hall.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat on the back row. We really